the next method that we are going to discuss is about sublimation method. Means how we can separate sublimable component from non-sublimable component. What is sublimation? Now, sublimation is the transition of substance from solid phase to gaseous phase without changing into liquid phase. Now, we have seen the matter, solid, liquid, gaseous. On heating, solid changes into liquid and liquid changes into gaseous. Whereas on cooling, gaseous state changes into liquid and the liquid changes into solid. But there are some substances which skip this liquid state and they directly pass from solid to gaseous. कुछ ऐसे सब्सटेंस भी होते हैं जो डायरेक्ट सॉलिड स्टेट से गैसियस स्टेट्स में कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं जब उनको हीट सप्लाई किया जाता है. Such component or such substances are called sublimable substance or sublimable components. ऐसे को sublimable component बोलते हैं क्योंकि जब उनको हम हीट सप्लाई करते हैं तो वो सॉलिड स्टेट से लिक्विड स्टेट में कन्वर्ट नहीं होते हैं, वो डायरेक्ट गैसियस स्टेट में कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं. Now let's see how to perform this experiment to understand this concept. We have to take a mixture of sand, salt and ammonium chloride. Here ammonium chloride is a sublimable component, whereas the sand and the salt, they are non-sublimable components. इन तीनों को हम separate कैसे करेंगे? Now, here we are taking a china dish. We are putting here the mixture of sand plus salt plus ammonium chloride. Now we are keeping here one inverted funnel. उल्टा funnel हम यहाँ पे रखेंगे ताकि कोई भी flame या कोई भी gas exit ना हो सके. And also we will put here one cotton plug so that no gas can exit this inverted funnel. And now we will supply heat with the help of burner. Now as heat is supplied, now since sand and salt they do not evaporate, वो evaporate नहीं होंगे, लेकिन जब हम heat supply करेंगे, since ammonium chloride is a sublimable substance, it turn into gaseous state. और जब वो gaseous state में होते हैं और जब वो ऊपर funnel की तरफ जाते हैं तो वो cool down होके यहाँ पे side में रह जाते हैं, side में stick हो जाते हैं and they cool down and solidify. So when we remove this inverted funnel, what we can get here is the ammonium chloride. So this way we have separated ammonium chloride from the mixture of sand and salt. Now how we can separate sand and salt? इन तीन mixture में से ammonium chloride को तो हमने separate कर लिया. अब हम sand और salt को कैसे separate करेंगे? Now here one more thing. Salt is a miscible component, means it dissolve in water, whereas sand is immiscible, right? Salt जो होता है वो पानी में mix हो सकता है, लेकिन sand पानी में mix नहीं होता. So when I will put the mixture of sand and salt in a water, तो क्या होगा? Through the process of filtration, I can separate out this salt from the salt and sand mixture, right? मैं filtration process से sand को अलग कर सकती हूँ. तो अब तीन component में से मैंने ammonium chloride को separate कर लिया through the process of sublimation. मैंने sand को भी separate कर लिया through the process of filtration, and now I can separate this salt water by the process of evaporation. जब मैं evaporation करूँगी तो जो water है वो evaporate हो जाएगा और जो रह जाएगा वो सिर्फ salt रह जाएगा. So through the process of sublimation, filtration and evaporation, I can separate the mixture of sand, salt and ammonium chloride into their individual component. So this is a way we can separate a sublimable component from a non-sublimable component using the method sublimation. Now till now we have seen separation method like evaporation, centrifugation, separating funnel and sublimation. The next we will see another type of separating method, that is chromatography. Now, the sketch pen or the dye that we use, the ink that we use for writing purpose or a drawing purpose, is it a single color? Is it made up of single color? Now this is my question. Is the dye in a black ink a single color or not? When we draw using a black sketch pen, we get black color, or a red sketch pen, we get a red color. But is that sketch pen really made up of a one single color? क्या वाकई में वो एक single color से बनता है? So we can find out the answer of this question through the process known as chromatography. Chromatography, it is a process which is used to separate a dye or a pigment such as ink. It is used to separate different components in a liquid mixture. Let's try to understand the process of chromatography through a very simple activity. Then I will show you one activity. I will discuss with you an activity which you can perform in your home to experience this chromatography separation. Now for this experiment you need a filter paper. You have to draw a line at least 3 cm above the lower edge and put a small drop of ink here. Water soluble ink, blue color or black color or any sketch pen mark. Next step, you have to take a beaker or a glass jar, fill the water, and you have to place this filter paper so that the line will be just above the water. It should not immerse in the water. आपको इस तरीके से फिल्टर पेपर इस ग्लास जार के अंदर रखना है ताकि ये पेपर जो है वो पानी को टच करे, लेकिन ये लाइन जो है वो पानी के ऊपर रहना चाहिए. Now leave it for some time and watch carefully. As the water rises on the filter paper, what you will see that it takes dye along with the water. Means as the water rises on the filter paper, it's take the dye particles also. जैसे जैसे ये पानी ऊपर आता है और इस डाई के कांटेक्ट में आता है तो पानी के साथ साथ ये डाई के जो कंपोनेंट्स है, जो कलर्स है, वो भी फिल्टर पेपर्स के ऊपर आते रहते हैं. Now here the ink that we use has water as a solvent and dye is soluble in it. We have already seen in the previous experiment how we can separate this dye by the process of evaporation. Actually this dye is a mixture of 2 or more color. ये किसी एक कलर से नहीं बनता, ये बहुत सारे कलर से बनता है. And the color component that is more soluble in water rises faster. In this way different colors get separated from the dye. ये डाई 2-3 कलर से बनता है. जो कलर पानी में ज़्यादा सॉल्युबल है वो पानी के साथ फिल्टर पेपर में राइज होता रहता है एंड देन इट विल फॉर्म अ डिफरेंट लेयर लाइक दिस एज यू कैन सी हियर. This is actually a chromatography paper. When you perform this experiment with the chromatography paper, it can be seen like this, different components of color. So this shows clearly that single color is not made up of any particular type of color. कोई भी black ले लो या red ले लो या pink ले लो, green ले लो, ये कोई एक color से नहीं बनता. It is actually a mixture of 2 or more color and we can separate each of this color into its constituent by the process known as a chromatography. Now for this you need a filter paper. I can show you one very simple activity which you can perform in your home with the help of chalk. What you need, a sketch pen or a dye, rubbing alcohol. If rubbing alcohol is not there, you can take water also, a shallow disc and few chalk. Now in every chalk mark with different sketch pen color and just place this chalk on the water carefully and let it stand for some time. What happened? Slowly as the water arises, the color component or a dye get also rises along with the water. डिफरेंट कलर्स के जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं वो भी पानी के साथ इस चॉक में ऊपर आते रहते हैं एंड देन यू कैन सी द डिफरेंट लेयर्स ऑफ कलर्स. सो this is a simple activity which you can perform in your home to experience the chromatography experiment with the help of chalk. A very simple activity that you should perform in your home to know more about the chromatography. Now this chromatography principle is used to separate colors in the dye or any colored pigmentation from the natural color, and also drugs from the food or any traces that is dissolved in the water. Any colored part that is dissolved in any kind of mixture can be separated with the help of chromatography technique. So this is also one of the way to separate two type of liquid which are mixed with each other. Now the next we will see how we can separate a mixture of two miscible liquid. We have already seen how we can separate two immiscible liquid using separating funnel. Now we will see how we can separate two miscible liquid, means any two liquid which completely dissolve with each other. तो उनको हम separate कैसे करेंगे? Such type of liquids can be separated by the process known as distillation. Now distillation is used for the separation of components of a mixture containing two miscible liquid that boils without decomposition and have sufficient difference in their boiling point. Means डिस्टिलेशन एक ऐसा प्रोसेस है जिसमें हम दो मिसिबल लिक्विड को सेपरेट कर सकते हैं, और जब उनको हम हीट सप्लाई करेंगे तो उनकी बॉइलिंग पॉइंट में इनफ डिफरेंसेस होगा. मीन्स दो लिक्विड जिसकी बॉइलिंग पॉइंट में ज़्यादा डिफरेंस हो, ज़्यादा वेरिएशन हो, ऐसे लिक्विड्स को हम डिस्टिलेशन प्रोसेस से सेपरेट कर सकते हैं. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल of a mixture of water and acetone. See the arrangement. Burner, this is a distillation flask where we will keep the mixture. This is a stand. Thermometer is attached. This is a condenser. This is used for cooling the vapor. Outlet for letting the water and also for letting in cold water to provide this condenser, and at last a flask to collect the distilled water. Now let's see how we can separate a mixture of acetone and water. Here acetone has a boiling point of approximate 56 degrees Celsius, whereas water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. See, दोनों का जो boiling point है उसमें बहुत difference है, तो इनको हम डिस्टिलेशन प्रोसेस से सेपरेट कर सकते हैं. एसीटोन एंड वाटर, दिस आर टू हाईली मिसिबल लिक्विड. ये लोग बहुत अच्छे से मिक्स हो जाते हैं. नाउ वी हैव टू टेक दिस मिक्सचर इन अ डिस्टिलेशन फ्लास्क. फिट हियर द थर्मोमीटर एज शोन इन द फिगर. नाउ हीट दिस मिक्सचर स्लोली विद द हेल्प ऑफ बर्नर. एज द हीट इज applied to this mixture, when it reach near about 56 degrees Celsius, acetone start vaporize and it travel up. The vapor rises up and then it goes through the condenser. Here the condenser, the vapor condenses and it convert into liquid, and then it is collected in the flask. Now the liquid which is collected is known as a distillate. Means now the acetone is separated from the water, right? Because water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius and acetone has a boiling point of 56 degrees Celsius. तो acetone पहले गर्म होता है, पहले भाप बनता है, और वो जब भाप बनेगा, वेपर बनेगा, तो it will rises up. Then it will travel to this condenser, condensate, cool down and turns into liquid state. So this way we can separate two immiscible liquid into two different components by the process known as distillation. Distillation process is used in the production of a gasoline or distilled water, alcohol, paraffin, kerosene. Through this we can obtain a pure form. तो इसको ही डिस्टिलेशन प्रोसेस बोलते हैं. इवन फिल्ट्रेशन ऑफ द वाटर, डिस्टिल्ड वाटर, these are all the example of distillation. Now we have seen here कि we can perform distillation only when the liquid have sufficient difference in their boiling point. But what will happen if two or a more miscible liquid they have the difference in the boiling point less than 25 degree Kelvin? तो क्या करेंगे? तो such type of liquid can be separated by fractional distillation process. The fractional distillation process, these are used for separating different gases from the air or different fractions from petroleum product, etc. Here only the major difference is what? In a fractional distillation, a fractionating column is added. All the procedure is same, all the arrangement is same as that of the distillation. Distillation का process और fractional distillation का process almost same है. Only one major difference is there, and this is this fractionating column. Now what happened? This fractionating column, it is fitted in between this distillation flask and the condenser. In this fractionating column, it is a tube which is packed with glass beads or say stones, and these beads provide the surface for the vapor to cool and condense repeatedly. ये क्या होते हैं? ये beads की वजह से एक सरफेस तैयार होता है. और एक और होता है, वन मोर थिंग इज देयर, दिस बीड्स प्रोवाइड हर्डल्स टू द वेपर्स. जब वेपर्स राइज होते हैं तो इनके जो बीड्स दे एक्ट एज अ हर्डल, एंड व्हाटएवर द lesser boiling point liquid rises up, and then it pass through this condenser, cool down and get separated in a different funnel. So here we can separate two or a more liquid, two or a more miscible liquid which has a boiling point even less than 25 degree Kelvin. जो इतने कम डिफरेंस के जो लिक्विड्स होते हैं, बॉइलिंग पॉइंट्स के जो लिक्विड्स होते हैं, उनको भी हम सेपरेट कर सकते हैं थ्रू द मेथड known as a fractional distillation.